I created a unique AI software, but my name was not even mentioned on the launch day. The boss took all the credit himself and silenced me by calling me a junior developer. But something happened on the day of launch that everyone started searching for me. When people started asking questions to the boss, he had no answer. So what happened that day? I'm Elissa Carter, a junior AI developer. But that's not going to be my only identity in this story. It was a cold December morning. There was a blanket of snow outside, but something else was boiling inside me. Sitting near my apartment window, I was looking at my laptop screen. The last line of code in the NeuroX software was running. My eyes were tired, but my heart was full of hope. This software is not just code, it is my soul, I said to myself. I made it by losing myself for the last 6 months. Coding, testing, debugging, day and night, even after returning from office, every moment I lived only for this project. I am working for a renowned tech company in New York, Cognizant Corporation. I was a junior AI developer. To the people there, I was just a fresher, but for me, my software, NeuroX, was my identity. My boss, Douglas Hayes, the company's chief technical officer, showed interest in my work from the beginning. Many times he would come to my desk and ask, "Elissa, this new protocol, can the system learn on its own?" I would smile and say, "Yes, sir, that's the whole point of NeuroX." But his questions gradually started to seem more intent than exploration. One day when I had gone to the cafeteria with my team for lunch, a notification of an internal office meeting came. Subject: confidential product presentation, attendance mandatory. My heartbeat increased. I ran to the conference room, where Douglas was already there. He smiled at me, the same fake smile that I had now learned to read. The meeting started. A presentation opened on the screen, NeuroX, the future of self-learning AI. I thought maybe I would be introduced, maybe my hard work would now be brought in front of everyone. But Douglas said, "Ladies and gentlemen, this is our latest innovation, designed and developed under my supervision." My hands started trembling. My breathing became faster. Under my supervision. I kept quiet. I couldn't muster the courage to say anything at that time. Everyone sitting there clapped. And I just kept looking at them. When I returned home in the evening, tears were flowing from my eyes. I opened NeuroX's code for the last time on my laptop. And then I did something that perhaps no one even knew about. I activated a real protocol in my software, a security system that allowed the software to run completely with only my biometrics and authentication. No matter how hard someone else tried, they could only run demos, not actual AI processing. I reminded myself, you're not just a junior developer, Elissa, you're a creator. The atmosphere in the office had changed for the next few days. Everyone was praising Douglas. Preparations for the product launch were in full swing. Sometimes people will come up to me and say, "Wow, Elissa, your inputs are amazing." And I would just say thank you and smile. The night of the launch party was approaching. A grand stage of media, investors, glamour and lies was being set up. But I didn't care anymore, because I knew what they stole was just a shell. Its soul was still with me. The day before the launch, Douglas told me, "Next time you will get the name in the presentation. Don't take this personally, you're still learning." I looked at him and smiled. And said, "Really, sir? I am learning a lot." Next morning everything was ready. The presentation hall in the hotel was sparkling. The crowd of investors, the media cameras, and Douglas on that stage. Today we are launching a product that will take human thinking to new heights, NeuroX. Echo of applause. But my eyes were only on that one screen, where in a few moments the truth was about to be told. Everything was shining on the stage, but there was only one thing in my eyes, that moment when the truth will speak the loudest. Everything was perfect in that grand hall of the hotel. Light filtered in from behind golden curtains, and in front was a large LED display that read in blue, "The future is here, NeuroX." My seat was on the left, in the third row. Everyone ignored me, as if I was a junior assistant. No one asked, "You made this, right?" "Why do you ask?" Because the credit had already gone to someone else's name. Douglas stood confidently on the stage. There was a strange glow on his face, the glow of a lie. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, "today we are going to make history." The crowd erupted in applause. I looked at my watch, 11:58 a.m. Just 2 minutes, and my code will trigger. As Douglas took the remote in his hands and said, "Now let me show you the live demo." I held my breath. He proudly said, "AI, initiate protocol NeuroX Alpha." The screen started blinking. Everyone's eyes were on the screen. But there for a second something strange happened. Instead of the AI interface that was supposed to appear on the screen, a message appeared. "Unauthorized access detected." There was a commotion in the crowd. Douglas got a little nervous. He tried again, "AI, initiate." The screen blinked again. Same message again. "Access denied. Biometric verification required." Now people started looking at each other. The cameras were zooming. Reporters were whispering. Douglas' face paled. He went to the mic and said, "There seems to be a small glitch, please bear with us." My heart was beating. I remained silent, with the same calm smile on my face. Now my phone vibrated, a code execution alert. My security protocol had been activated. The screen suddenly went black. Then some lines emerged in white font. This AI was created by Elissa Carter. All proprietary rights and real-time learning protocols belong to the original creator. Attempted theft of intellectual property detected. Logging event with live recording. There was silence in the entire hall. Douglas stood there for a few seconds, as if he had become a statue. Then the media cameras turned towards him. The reporter started shouting, "Mr. Douglas, can you tell that this software is not yours? Have you stolen work from one of your team members?" I got up from my chair and stepped outside. No one could stop me, no one had the courage. On my way out, my eyes met Douglas's. There was the same panic in his eyes that a thief has when he is caught red-handed. I just bowed my head slightly and said, "Now you can really learn, sir." As soon as we came out, the air seemed different. As if the breath held for years had become free today. Notifications were coming continuously on my phone. "Elissa, was it really your AI? We want to interview you. Can we discuss funding your independent project?" I smiled and silenced the phone. Now I wanted peace, just for a few hours, because now my fight was not over, but had just begun. When I returned home at night, there was only one thing being broadcast on the news channels. Cognisys Corp's CTO attempted software theft. Junior developer shook the industry by revealing the truth. And this time, my photo was also there along with my name. I sat near my bed. Opened the laptop, ran NeuroX again. But this time not demo mode, full activation. That voice appeared on the screen. "Welcome back, creator." A relaxed smile appeared on my lips. The truth had come out, but this was not the destination of victory, it was the first step of a new battle. The morning sun filtered through the window and hit my face, but my eyes were open, I couldn't sleep the whole night. The laptop was in my lap, the NeuroX code was open on the screen, and a cup of coffee, now cold, was sitting next to me. Everything had changed overnight, from news channels to Twitter, I was talked about everywhere. Junior developer Elissa Carter brings truth to light. CTO Douglas under investigation for IP theft. NeuroX, the future of AI, but who owns it? People's messages, calls, emails, everything was coming together. But only one face kept recurring in my eyes, Douglas's. 11 a.m. The doorbell to my apartment rang. I opened the door. A woman was standing outside, in a black coat, seriousness in her eyes. "Hi, Elissa Carter?" "Yes. I'm Olivia Bennett, Federal Cybercrime Division. Can we talk?" I quietly called them inside. As soon as he sat at the table, he started talking directly. "Your AI, NeuroX, is now a legal matter. Cognizant Corporation is under investigation. But we need your cooperation." I took a deep breath. "I will give anything that proves the truth." He nodded his head. "Perfect. But be ready, Cognizant isn't going down without a fight." By evening, I was in a lawyer's office. I was referred by an old professor of mine, Laura Mitchell, an expert on technology and innovation rights. Laura looked at me carefully and said, "Elissa, they're going to try everything to prove it's theirs. Are you emotionally ready?" I closed my eyes for a moment and remembered the night I was first working on the base protocol of NeuroX, in my tiny apartment, eating ramen, stuck in the middle of the night coding. I opened my eyes and said, "I didn't just write code, I poured my life into it. I'm ready." The first hearing in court was next week. Douglas was there, in his expensive suit, but his eyes didn't have the confidence they used to. I had a pen and a notebook and an affidavit in which I recorded all my hard work. Laura told the court that a year ago, I had saved the base code of NeuroX in a private commit on Git, which had a timestamp. The lines of tension on Douglas's face deepened. During the break, I was standing in the corridor of the court. That's where Douglas came at me, for the first time, looking directly at me. "Elissa, you really want to ruin my life?" I replied without smiling. "I just want what's mine back." He looked at me for a few moments, then went away without saying anything. That night, after coming back from the court, I sat quietly on my bed. Picked up the phone, there was a new email. Subject, investor interest, let's build NeuroX together. It was a big investment firm that wanted to fund my startup. But the question was, am I ready for this? In the morning, I was sitting in a park, earphones in my ears and coffee in my hand. I took out my diary and wrote. Everything I endured, every insult, every neglect, all of that has become my strength today. I am no longer just a developer, I am a creator of a vision. I raised my head, some children were playing with an AI robot in front. Software like NeuroX will one day change their world. And I knew. I can be the beginning of that change. Every dream has a price, but some dreams decide their own price. Several weeks had passed. Court dates kept coming, each time Douglas's team tried to produce some new document, some new agreement, to prove my work was company property. But I was not afraid anymore. Because now I was not alone. I had my lawyer Laura, my old professor, some investors, and most of all, the truth of my own hard work. A small meeting room, a big dream. I was sitting in a small meeting room in the back of a coffee shop, 3 investors in front of me, their eyes fixed on me. I opened the laptop, ran a demo of NeuroX. The AI on the screen was creating personalized learning paths for the children by understanding their voices. One investor said, "This is not just a product, Elissa. It's a revolution." I smiled and replied, "And I want to lead that revolution." 3 hours later, I signed the documents for my first company. NeuroBloom Incorporated. A new office, but the same old fear. We took a small office space, old, a little shabby, but it was like a palace for my team. On the first day I gathered everyone and said, "We will not just write code here. We will create a world where technology empowers humans, not degrades them." The team erupted in applause. But as soon as I was alone, some old things started troubling me from inside. Would Douglas really give up? One evening, when old wounds became green again. I was alone in the office late in the evening. The beta version of my company was to be launched tomorrow. Then a call came on my phone from an unknown number. "Hello?" Congrats on your new toy, Elissa. This voice was Douglas's. Isn't it funny? You think this is over? I took a deep breath. Douglas, your time is up. I have everything I want. Really? He laughed and said, then how will you explain the glitch in your new codebase? I was surprised. Did he interfere with my new programming? Don't worry, he said, I didn't do anything special, just a little tampering. You won't get any proof either. But your system will crash as soon as it launches. The call got disconnected. I did not break. I stood up with twice the strength. I ran to my CTO, Ben. We scanned the code all night. GitHub logs, server pings, checked every line. At 5 in the morning, we found a hidden script, a self-trigger bug that would activate the next day. I said, staring at the screen. He tried to sabotage us, again. Ben looked at me. Then let's show him, we're not scared. We cleaned up the entire code line, deployed backup protocols, and got the system stable again over the next 2 nights. Launch day, the first step to my victory. I was standing on the stage, mic in hand and confidence in my eyes. Today Neurobloom is not just an app. It's a belief, for every developer who has ever said, you're just a junior developer. There was applause on the stage. There were tears in my eyes, but they were not of weakness, but of pride. Last blow in court. At the next hearing, Laura presents evidence of Douglas' sabotage attempt to the court, server logs, hidden scripts, and witnesses. The judge said seriously, Cognises and Douglas are guilty of not only IP theft, but also cyber sabotage. The press surrounded me outside the court. A reporter asked, Elissa, how do you feel? I said, this is not just my victory, it is the victory of every person who was once considered small. Sometimes, you have to create your own identity and fight for that identity. When I came out of the court after the hearing, it felt as if a long battle had ended. Press, cameras, questions, everyone was turned towards me. But only one sound was echoing in my ears. You're just a junior developer. That sentence, which could have once broken me, was burning inside me like a fire today, but this time not to burn me, but to illuminate me. From a common girl to a tech CEO. I started coding in a small apartment. Silently, without any name. Today, I am Neurobloom Incorporated. Was the CEO of. There were over 50 people on my team, and our AI solution was now on trial in schools. Seeing the children's progress gave me a sense of relief, because I had created a dream, not a software. An unknown email, there again. One night while returning from office I received an email. Subject, one last talk? Sender, Douglas Weston. The heart began to palpitate. I thought, why? Why? What is left now? But there was something inside that wanted to close this incomplete chapter. A coffee shop, one last time. When I arrived at the coffee shop, Douglas was already there. He seemed more tired and defeated than before. Hi, Elissa. I nodded silently. He said without preface. You won, fair and square. I won't fight anymore. I looked into his eyes, there was no pride there anymore, just regret. Why did you do all this? I burst into tears. He put down his head. Because you were everything that I could not be. I didn't get any answer. Perhaps that answer was not even necessary. I got up and said, I have saved my honor, not yours. And now? I value my own honor more than your forgiveness. I came away from there. Didn't look back. Mother's letter, which was always with me. When I got home, I pulled out my mother's old letter, the one she'd sent at my graduation. Elissa, the world will call you many names, but remember, your real name is the one you keep. I kept that letter close to my chest. Today, I knew that my name was no longer just Elissa, it was an identity. 3 months later, a new beginning. Noura Bloom was now running pilot programs in 3 countries. I went to the office every morning, not the one who hired me, but the one I made. My chair, my desk, my computer, and most importantly, my soul, which was now free. Ben, my team, and Laura all stood with me now, like a family. One last recording, which was now my inspiration. I recorded a video in the office one day. "Hi, I'm Elissa." They said I was just a junior developer. But I believed in my idea. And now, I lead a global tech movement. Don't let their titles define your value. Don't let their no end your dream. Let your yes become louder than all their doubts. The story is not over, just another page open. That day, when I was alone in an empty room writing code, I never thought that one day I would become an inspiration to others. But today, when a girl listens to this story and says, "If Elissa can do it, I can do it too," so it makes sense. That real victory is not in the court, but in the soul. Because I wasn't just a developer. I was someone who knew how to build.